Down in Bibb County today on some private property. I got some permission to come hunting. Got a little history on an old dam, and it had a grist mill on this side of the river and a nail factory on the other side of the river. And also on this property there's a graveyard, a small cemetery that had nothing but kids in it. And so it's right in here somewhere. It's supposed to be on this side of the field from the hay barn that's over there. So I'm kind of digging around looking for it. I haven't located it yet. Did find me a nice half antler. Looks like squirrels been eating on part of it, or maybe it was sticking out of the ground here, so maybe the bush hog got it. But I'm interested to try and find this little cemetery. Infant. All it says is infant. Here's the bricks from the old home site. Some rock. This looks like a chimney of some kind. Bricks are kind of scattered around here. Another little stack of bricks over here. So this is the site of an old dam. A grist mill was on this side of the river. A nail mill was on the other side. So what we got here is an old stacked wall dam. Or part of the foundation of the grist mill, more than likely. This probably was the grist mill foundation, but the dam went straight across from it. I've canoed down through here at least 100 times. Never had a clue that from the river right over here was a dam. This is actually one of my favorite spots to stop. There's a swimming hole right below here. I'm not going to try and disclose the location too good because I told them I would try and keep it a secret. So I'm not going to show any real landmarks. But this is a very well-traveled spot here on the Little Cahaba. So I'm going to eat some lunch and then I'm going to cross the river. And this is the opposite side of the river on the dam. This is where the dam didn't wash away. So that first stack I showed you is straight across the river right there. But you can see the pile of rocks here is about 8 foot wide. Smaller on this side than the other side. I think because it was more foundation for the grist mill over there. I think I found another foundation here. Started down there. I couldn't tell if it was stacked, and then I got down here. And this is obviously stacked, just like the opposite side. And I'm looking up through there, and there's another stack up here. So I think this may have been the nail factory that was going on the other side of the river. So this is another stack of rocks here. That is a man-made mark right there. Kind of what I'm looking for, how they would have moved these big rocks. That looks like a mark they put in them for moving rock for railroads. Over here we're getting back into the rocks from the dam. It appears it was just a pre-stacked pile of rubble dam. I think it's a good spot to sit down and have me a water. This is cool. And it's shaded. So it looks like the dam was just above this natural ford, and they may have had a ford here for crossing the river, and a lot of these small rocks washed down would have washed out of this limestone where they filled it full of small rock to make it easy to cross, because this is just a perfect crossing right here. Pretty sure that's what's going on. So before I leave, I want to look around over here. The man that I talked to, he said he found a pile of bricks over here, and kind of showed me the area where they were. So I'm going to dig around and see if I can't locate them and get an idea of how old they are, and if they've got slag around. I might see them up here. Oh yeah. Yep, so we've got the limestone and then old bricks. Oh yeah. Let me see that. And this one is old. None of the bricks are stamped, all handmade. Very brittle and broken. I want to find some slag though. There it is. There's a brick with slag on it. Here's another one. is a really old site. So looking around for slag over here where the truck is, I have found it. You see that right there. Right there. It's all mixed in with the gravel out here. Right there. I'm gonna dig around just a little more, see if I can't look, see if there was a dam here. There's an obvious slag pile here. Me and my kids have stopped here and they've swam, jumped off these. I've stopped here with my friends. I met the owners of this property here, sitting here eating lunch with my friends, about 12 of us here in kayaks. So I wonder if there was a dam here, because every one of these forges I've found had a dam connected to it. And so they're all happening at natural spots to put dams. So I wonder if a dam was here. I mean, the answer is probably yes. There's no evidence here on the side of the river like there is at the last spot of piles of rocks. Next thing I need to learn about is how these billows worked with the fans. How far away could they be? What mechanical way did they run a fan? And was it a mechanical rod that came from a wheel, or could it actually like blow air through a duct over long distance? So that's something I need to find out to understand better how this worked, and how because this forge is a little farther away from the river than the other ones, probably 200 feet away from the river, but it's definitely a forge. How these rocks are coming through the limestone here. It's almost like this was liquid. Look at that. Obviously it was liquid. I'm on an opposite hill and still finding slag in this roadbed I'm walking. Walking along, and found a whole slag dump here over an old pipe. And I'm a long ways from the forge that I found. But they've used it for gravel here to fill in this low spot. I keep looking around, see if I can't find another forge. I set out today on a wild goose chase and have had the best day. I found old foundation of a home with fireplaces. I found a dam, 2 forges, a graveyard. Man, this has just been the best wild goose chase ever. I got very blessed on this one. I walked at least a mile from the forge, the second forge that I found. They have got trails cut all through this property for quail hunting. I can look at it on Google Maps, and it just, you can see the trails everywhere on this property. So it makes it real good for hunting treasure or bricks, forges. Just trails going everywhere. So that made this just so much easier. But a mile from the forge, I was still finding slag. This was a big place. I'm gonna have to find out more about how this was tied to Briarfield Ironworks and get more information. Somebody has to know more. So I just wanted to look again at the stuff that was here at the home site. So there's this old hoe, very old. Some pottery. Bunch of old jars, glass bottles. I don't know if any of this is super old. There was this one here that's kind of cool. It's got a cork in it. Seems like that cork, if it was really old, would have deteriorated. But it's broken. Some other bottles. Cool little piece of iron here. Some type of a piece of metal. Old farming implement. This is what they were known for making, is farming implements. Other iron. This looks like, I know this is part of an old wood or coal burning stove. Here is. Yeah, this is part of an old stove. I used to have one similar to this. That is cool. So somebody has found this stuff and piled it up, and I'm gonna do the right thing and leave it all here. I believe this may be the site of an excavation that I read about. I'm not positive, but this could be one of the old Mahan homesteads. And if that's true, then this is really, really cool. And a horseshoe, that's the coolest thing. A horseshoe and a file. So, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. It's getting kind of late. I'm tired, hungry, and thirsty. It's been hot out here. This teapot, I don't know how old that is. I've never seen anything like it, but it's not very thick. But it's definitely Definitely vintage. I can imagine this teapot sitting on top of the stove there. So that's it for today. What an episode of Meerkat Adventures. Thanks for watching. See y'all later. Meerkat's out.